Very interesting story, nonetheless. It's been going on for a bit here. Um, a woman who also enjoyed rolling in a car, they say it was a Mercedes, and also just going for long hikes and things like that, states the daughter of a Colorado woman who was slain with a machete is worried the suspect will go free. How does this make sense? 5 years prior to this, a Colorado mother was killed in front of her family. Now, there are many concerns the man who was accused of the deadly attack with the machete may in fact walk free. Those concerns surfaced after a legal loophole was found in a new Colorado state code known as HB 23-1034, signed by police, because it created some type of loophole that was fairly intense. It was intended to prioritize a mental health awareness for those found incompetent to stand trial. However, some have fallen through the cracks and have been released in the public eye as far as been back on the street after they failed to receive the proper treatment. Without being able to receive care or being found guilty of a crime, the alleged criminals are able to be released. So very interesting. Abigayle Skinner has been waiting to speak before a judge about the nightmare her family experienced 5 years ago inside their Brighton home in Colorado. So Brighton, for those who aren't aware, is kind of on the other side of Colorado Springs. It's way out there. But what's fascinating is, for the longest time, they have been able to really deduce what went on here. It is the case that left an emotional and physical scar on the community that never quite heals because of this recurring horror film-like feeling that plays in my head. Stated was allegedly using the machete that night. My mother was one of a kind. She would literally drop whatever she was doing to come to our rescue. She was understanding, yet stern. She was brave, and she had the kindest eyes and heart, but most of all, she was a great nurturer. For quite some time, and I wish, since it's been full circle, ever since the incident unfolded. More than 5 years ago, 53-year-old Lonny McNair was charged with first-degree murder and other assaults for attacking Abigail, her sisters, and her family at the Brighton household. Mom was the only one who did not survive. The others were left with physical scars and extreme emotional trauma. Abigail. I opened my bedroom, and sure enough, a man was holding a large machete, maybe 14 inches, serrated blades. Abigail describes the attacker as someone who appeared to instinctively begin swinging, hitting her in the back and injuring others along the path. My dad was going up the steps, he was behind him. He basically butchered into him, she stated. After nearly 2 years of legal proceedings, McNair was placed under a mental health evaluation and commitment at the Pueblo Hospital. That stay was lifted in November 2022 after he was supposedly restored to competency. This past September, as she wonders what will happen if McNair has never tried and tried fully restored, of course. He shouldn't be anyone who would be let go. And, I would concur with that. This is a very, very interesting story. And what's fascinating here is McNair not only got let go, he is connected to some other alleged incidents that have been in the area, since that time. That's right. Instead, she hopes this chapter of her family nightmare can finally end and come to a proper conclusion. She was a beautiful spirit, inside and out. I'm just wishing she could hold my daughter and my nephew. McNair is scheduled for an upcoming review and a board hearing on December 11th. So that was in 2020. House that they were allegedly performing certain things at. It just makes you think, it really makes you wonder. And my questions remain on this case, as you can see kind of in part two, as to whether perhaps there was some type of occult involvement, as normally there always is in cases similar to this. And what's fascinating, of course, is look at that house. I mean, doesn't it just feel like it comes out of, I don't know, something out of Amityville, The Awakening? It's pretty amazing, isn't it? And astounding how the system can allow this interesting individual to be back out there after doing such incredible damage and possibly being involved in other interesting incidents and attacks. It makes you wonder, it really makes you ponder our history. I hope you've enjoyed this and learned much more. There is, of course, I'm certain, connections between this alleged attack and the use of certain manuscripts or books, what is commonly known as a seance. It's just pretty unbelievable when you think about this behavior. The only way that it could be rationally explained in certain cases is there is perhaps some type of dark influence being performed. And we will definitely get to that. Thank you. And so much like life is always interesting, that's what we're discovering, of course, with the case with Abigayle Skinner, those who were connected to it. Story kept on coming up quite a bit when her case was brought back to the forefront. It states an unassuming farmhouse located in the town of Burrillville, Rhode Island, was famous for the 2013 horror film known as The Conjuring. Written by Chad Hayes and directed by James Wan, it starred Patrick Wilson as Ed and Lorraine Warren. The story is based on the alleged paranormal experience of the Perron family, Roger, Carolyn, and their 5 daughters. Not long after moving into the house in 1971, the family reported all manner of paranormal experiences, from apparitions to physical attacks by force, they claim. The most frequent apparition, according to Andrea Perron, was that of a woman with a broken neck who came to the window. Andrea, the eldest daughter, authored a 3-volume book series that further embellished the alleged paranormal events inside the house. This was accomplished by claiming various deaths, some by assisted suicide, took place inside the house or on their property. My original article took a deep dive into the claims, finding all but one of the reported deaths occurred in locations miles away from the home. So very fascinating. This was written by someone who's kind of a skeptic of book seances, and by the end of it, they were convinced beyond doubt, folks, that they have encountered something paranormal, something that relates to the occult, as it were, much like what lurks beneath would sometimes convey. An opportunity presented itself this year when Carl Johnson, one of the few who was involved in the house back when the Perron family moved in, using the title deed, offered to take me on a tour to explore it and then sit down for lunch. I drove out to Rhode Island that same day, directly before, and stayed with Jason Hawes of Ghost Hunters to experience what was truly going on. After a short visit with the Harrisville Cemetery to pay my respects for the Shermans, I made my way to the scenic route to the Round Top Road and pulled into the driveway. This was the official conjuring house, and I felt it. A moment later, Carl and Elise arrived, and we spent a few moments walking the grounds before heading inside for the tour. As our guide began relating the history of the house, we were told that construction began in the 1680s, was not completed until 1736 by Noah Arnold Jr., who had a fascinating interest in the estate. Sage added that it only makes sense to go out on Halloween night after building a haunted house. So they regard this place as something directly out of The Conjuring, which is fascinating. And when I've looked at it, it feels like it may be closer to the mark than people think. Interesting. Then, of course, we have the story that coincides with this, dealing with Mr. McNair. And so my understanding of this is that there may have been something else going on. No question. The Brighton Police Department released new documents Friday on the Machete attack. The attack happened on Tuesday at a home in Cherry Circle, which is near the intersection of East Bromley and South 27th Avenue. So that's almost like a street that you would see normally in New York. So fascinating, to note what's going on here. According to the affidavit, the incident started at 9:50 p.m. on August 11th when a young female called 911 to report Lonny McNair, who was identified as a suspect, was visiting from out of town and hitting people with a machete. When officers arrived on scene, they noticed Bonnie face down in a puddle. And sadly, she passed. According to a neighbor who witnessed the attack outside her bedroom, Bonnie was struck multiple times by a man with a long, serrated blade and run over twice with an older car. The victim stated that McNair had a machete and struck Smeel in the back. Smeel was able to run away and lock himself in a bedroom as soon as they called on 911. Vincent received a head injury. Page received a significant hand injury, according to the arrest affidavits. McNair, the suspect, was known. Police stated they were able to use a K9 unit to track McNair down after a short chase and car crash. McNair has since been charged with 1 count of homicide and 4 counts of attempted homicide, as well as first-degree burglary. So very interesting. And what made me really take a second look at this is the fact that looking at their house, that's their house kind of in Brighton. And you look at some of the patterns here that cross over with what you see of the Conjuring house. They look very similar. So I strongly feel that it's probable that there is some level of occult involvement, and that would explain why McNair has not been caught and why he was seen running down the road, with this sword. He was actually swinging the sword. Anyway, those are my 2 cents and thoughts on it. And of course, we always appreciate hearing from you most of all. So sound off and say what you believe in the comments down below. Thank you. Always more to explore.